Well, good morning. Very excited to be having this next conversation. Earlier on, I had a small interview, a shorter interview with His Excellency, the Minister of Communications over here in Qatar, and we were talking about what Qatar is doing on AI applications. And here we're going to get the perspective of VCs, investors, and how they're eyeing up the opportunity. I thought it was interesting that last year, I'm going to bring you some statistics. Venture funding for AI startups rose to 73 billion. So that's up 150% from where we were in 2017. Still short of the peak that we got to in 2021, but it does tell you that the trajectory and the hype is there around AI investing. So Rick, I'm just going to start with you because I know you're focused on growth investing, and quite simply, how are you picking the opportunities in this market? What are you looking for?
So that's a good question. There is an interesting framing that a close friend of mine explained to me recently. I don't know if anyone here ever listens to Founders podcast, David Senra. So he had the fortune of having dinner with Charlie Munger probably 2 months before he passed away. And we were having breakfast right after, and he told me that Charlie summed up for him how he and Warren realized over many decades that the key to selecting opportunities is going for great, is what he said. So David asked him, like, what does that mean, going for great? He said, well, great people are rare and great businesses are rare, but when you find them, you end up having less problems. And when he looked back on his 100 years, he noticed that when he didn't go for great, there ended up being a lot of problems. And I thought about it, and the things that we've done well all fit that. And the things that we've done poorly were at times when we didn't go for great. And so I use that as a way to frame this overreaching effort of selecting opportunities. And it's easy to make mistakes and to think something is great when it's not. But when I made mistakes in the past, I didn't even consider at the time, or I completely ignored at the time, that I wasn't going for great. And so when I'm looking at the opportunity set today, there's a few ways that I think about benefiting from the massive, inescapable advancements in AI and not getting run over by it. I'll give you one example of a way not to get run over from it. It's a bit removed from AI, but experiences that nothing is going to come that's going to reduce the human desire to have amazing experiences. If anything, it's going to be even more important and more desired over time, not less. And so an example of an investment that we have that provides experiences is Amman Resorts. And so you couldn't get further from AI itself in something like that, but it benefits from an unending human trend. In AI specifically, we're trying to get involved with situations that will not be easily disrupted by rapid advancement, but instead are essential for leading the way. And an example is Cerebras, which is a chip company that makes the largest chip in the world, purposefully built for AI, and absolutely annihilates any benchmarks. And then in traditional industries, we're involved with a company that is rolling up traditional businesses that are people-intensive, that are highly sticky, but that are inefficiently run. And when you use AI to solve basic problems in those businesses, the cost structure comes way down. So those are a few examples of how we look at it.
Yeah, Jeff, let me put the question to you. You were involved in early stage investing, incubation. To what extent do you think that helps you in this environment of many startups coming to the fore with AI potential applications, potential use cases? Do you feel like you have an advantage because you're starting with them from very early on?
Well, I don't think there's a right or a wrong. These are, just, I think different expertise that you develop. I think what's particularly exciting for the WndrCo team is finding those great entrepreneurs with great ideas early enough to really be able to bring value to them. I know everybody talks about that. Starting a company 0 to 1, I like to think is impossible, and 1 to 10 is improbable. And so getting on the journey, with young entrepreneurs and companies that have already achieved that 0 to 1, and where we can really help accelerate the 1 to 10, which is, by the way, the longest path. It takes 10 years to create a great company. That does not happen overnight.
Yeah.
But we are seeing, particularly in these last 3 to 5 months, a very, very compelling new crop of really interesting ideas. They're very much, they are AI focused. They are AI for enterprise primarily. So, last year I think was a transitional year. Certainly when you look at the sort of larger, the big players that are trying to sort of, battle the platforms, if you will. That's not a game that we're in, and certainly watching, 5 companies put $100 billion bets down is an amazing thing to, to see and to watch and to, handicap. But it's an exciting time, and we're, as I say,
there's a lot of fear, consternation, enthusiasm, but lots of question marks about what the advent of artificial intelligence means. I'm going to ask you just to wear your media hat for a second and give us a view of, how you think AI ultimately is going to affect us on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I really think there are 2 very distinct lanes, and I'm not sure people have really distinguished at least the way I think about them. There are AI tools that are available today. I would call them first or second generation tools that are